Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast, Rom's Life Philosophy. And you know what? I was moved to do this because, I remember, let's say a few weeks ago, a month or so ago, you always get some detractors. I say once a year I get some detractors. And they trying to, they would try to figure out what's up with me, based on some videos, which represent, 5% of what I could talk about. There's a lot of stuff I don't get into just on the air. Yeah. Why? Boom. Because first of all, I never really get into my spirituality. I might throw some hints out there, but I never really get into it. And you can't really understand me until you understand that much, at least. So, there's a lot of stuff. But I can talk about my general life philosophy. And it's about power. It really is. It's about power. Everything I'm talking about, is bigger than just really just dealing with women. That's just but that's a major area of life, though. Anybody who don't realize that just sex is a major driver of the economy, the world, the decisions we make, the creation of cultures and subcultures, really don't know much about life. So I'll talk about that and how to be more attractive to women, but that's a power thing. And think about it. You get a choice. Because you get a choice, you got options. Instead of having to deal with some woman with a bad attitude that you're not attracted to, the more you develop your own attractiveness, the more you develop your own game, if you want to use that term, or your life skills or your strategies, the more options that you have when dealing with the opposite sex. But that's a power thing. You got power when you got the power of choice. Everything is choice. You can create whole universes based off of choice. Why some of those science fiction flicks? Think about the choices in your own life. So that's just to give you an option. But see, that's just one aspect. That's just one power. Another power is the ability to make money the way that you want to make. That's why I have an entire business channel. Because one of the things with that is your life is limited if your means of income is controlled by another human being. And I've actually talked about that in my book, Nice Guys and Players. Because how can you really, you got some cats out here calling themselves alpha and everything, but how can you call yourself alpha and somebody else signs your paycheck? And I'm being real. I am being real. I know some people want to think, that's why I don't really like using that term, at least in the social sense. But you still want to build to that point, regardless of what term you use, that you have control over how you make money, or at least leverage. Because reality in this world, very few people have absolute control. Even some billionaires don't have absolute control over how they make money, because everything they're doing is dependent on somebody else. But leverage is power. Negotiation is power. One of the things, I don't know if I said it publicly or not, but I've negotiated before. I've been a negotiator. And one of the ways to negotiate, you need to be in a position where you can get what you want. You have a strong position. If you don't have any leverage, you can't negotiate with anybody. I don't care what it is, whether it's negotiating for a better car deal, whether it's negotiating for, that woman to have sex with you right away, as opposed to her draining your bank account for several $1,000s. That's a negotiation. In fact, I know some people, they'll use that when they're talking about dealing with the opposite sex. They say, hey, Rom, I'm in this delicate negotiation right now. I'll get back with you. But that's a power thing, that economic power. So you're talking about sexual power, social power. Well, economic power. Now I want to talk about social power. Just being able to navigate in different areas. Now, I've said, in fact, I heard, I think it was Master Teacher BGS. He had mentioned something about the different octanes and how people like me, him, Kevin Samuels have managed to touch all of them. But that's a power right there. If I can go into a hood for whatever, and it could be for whatever reason. Somebody say, well, Ron, why would you want to go in a hood? Sometimes they may have something at a store I might need, and I might need to go in the hood to find it. Shoot, sometimes you go, as an aside, and I think I said this in a business video, for a place that's supposed to be so poor, you got a lot of businesses. So, but if I'm in that area and I'm dealing with some of the locals and the locals haven't seen you before, boom, that could be an issue. Because if anybody who's dealt with those areas, a lot of times you get in trouble because they don't know what you look like. In fact, I remember, here's some wisdom, here's some game from a dude who was, well, let me negotiate a better term for it. He marketed contraband goods in fresh air environments. So this particular dude said he would go in like different neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, just so they get used to his face, just so they get used to seeing him. And that's a significant thing, but that's a power thing. That's a social power thing. Like a social power is just being able to talk to people. Look, everything that happens out here is a relationship. Everything. Like people got like poor social skills, but thinking they're going to become like some millionaire or something. Nah, even if you creating a computer program or something, you still got to have some social skills to talk to the investors. That's going to come down to, a lot of stuff come down to whether they like you or not. A lot of jobs and everything. People don't really do stuff just based on like some stuff written on a piece of paper. The most that might do, like a resume or something, most that might do is get you in the door. Like most times. I mean, hypothetically, there might be an exception. I haven't seen it yet, though. Most times it's going to be, does this person that's interviewing you like you or feel some connection to you? But that's a social power right there. If you can go in whatever neighborhood, that's a social power. I remember the other day, had to do something, had to walk through dudes that people would consider Pookie and Ray Ray. Some dudes would be like, oh man, they gonna do something. I was just like, yo, what's up, fellas? They were like, hey, what's up, man? What's up? That's a social power though. If you can just go anywhere and be comfortable in everything. So every single thing I talk about, like on my Deep Thought channel, the sole purpose of it is to get you to think. That's a power right there, to really think, creative think. Not like just read other people's stuff and like mimic it or repeat it, but actually think creatively, actually look at something and say, okay, let me come up with a thought that's original to me regarding a subject or any subject. That's why on my Deep Thought channel, I talk about different things. The sole purpose is to get you to think, just to think about it, to think critically. And that's a big thing. That's not really taught in schools. Schools really, well, and this is something for my Deep Thought channels. Most schools, even, and this is ironic saying coming from somebody with 2 degrees, most schools just teach you how to really repeat what the teacher gave you. Real life, and I'm not going to knock it because it does. The main thing it does is show some discipline, which is another power, But, to think critically is very important. That's a power because situations don't happen by the book. On this channel, I primarily talk about male-female relationships, in particular self-development for men. I've been with a lot of women. No two were alike. I couldn't write a book and say, boom, this is what's going to happen. Even in my books that I've written, all my books I've written, that's very general. And I've told people, I've said it on here. See what you can apply to your particular situation. I can only talk in general. People act like there's some static rules and stuff. No. But you still got the power to adapt. But being able to adapt to different situations is a power. And that's just to be real with y'all, that's it. My thing is about acquiring more power. So I can have as much control over my life as possible. As much. Like I said, it's impossible really in our current society to have total control. Even if you decided you're going to go out to some woods and build something, you still don't have total control because those woods probably belong to somebody. And when they want to develop it, they'll move your ass out. So, but you do want to have some leverage at the minimum. You can control what you can have leverage in other things. So that's my thing. It's all about power. So even when you listening to me, whether it's talking about women, whether you're on my business channel or my deep thought channel, or, I'm just saying something that could sound totally crazy, it's about power. Because that's even power to be in a position where my voice is free. See, I can say whatever the fuck I want, and I'm not worried about somebody firing me or something. Or somebody trying to dox me and like call up my boss or something, say, hey, this is what he's saying on here. Oh, and incidentally, it was power when I last worked on a day job, because even human resources knew what I did. They knew about the videos. They'd come discuss the videos. It'd be a human resources or a general manager coming to me and say, hey, yeah, I saw that video last night. That was power to still stay on there. Even when I said something that they didn't agree with. That's still power. So that's my life philosophy. Developing as much power leverage as possible. So anyway, for anybody who want to know, here it is. Share the video with them. You don't have to question it. So anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.